So, yeah, thank you for coming. Welcome back, as I would say on my normal videos. You're watching MyAirMyles. I wanted to do a live stream about my trip to Japan because I was planning on doing all my content in Japan, which we were planning to do between the 11th of April and 26th of April, as live streams from my phone. So we've had to cancel the trip, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about how we were planning for the trip. But I wanted to do all the content as live streams, and I'm aware that my camera is going to start flicking up things, and so I apologize for that. I'm doing my best with the IT that I have available to me. So first up, I guess let's talk about, whilst people kind of come in, what I was planning on doing and sort of why we're doing this live stream. So, kind of switch over now just to make sure this works. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you're seeing my desktop now. The FCO, which is the Foreign Office for Travel Advice in the UK, has advised against all foreign travel for the next 30 days for anyone in the UK. And this meant that my trip that was meant to leave on the 11th of April is essentially cancelled. Apologies, I've just realised I've not turned my light on. This is why you should never do things live. So, yeah, we've been thinking on and off for the last few weeks. Should we cancel the trip? Should we keep going? What's the kind of deal with that? And we decided that we'd wait until the FCO told us we couldn't go. And that's what happened a couple of days ago. We decided we couldn't go. So we've been tracking this on the government website for a number of weeks now. And we've been planning this trip probably about a year. So it's kind of sad to see that we can't go. Hi, Mary. Thanks for watching. So I've got the live stream up. I can see the comments coming in. Please do comment. Please like it. Feel free to share it around. This is my first live stream doing this, excuse me, from the studio. So I'm going to come across a little bit nervous and say this because usually I get more than one take at this. So the current situation, as I said, is the FCO has advised that no one from the UK should travel anywhere in the world for 30 days. And my trip, the flight was due for the 11th of April. That kind of kiboshes my travel plans. We thought we were going to be stopped by the European border control because we were flying out from Amsterdam and flying back in through Paris. So we already thought the flights might get cancelled, but we weren't sure what was happening. So we thought we'd sort of sit on it, but now that's kind of definitely been cancelled. Also, on top of that, if I bring up, so JNTO, which is a great website to go on if you're looking for Japanese travel advice, this is straight from the sort of Japanese government, tells you what the rules are for going into Japan at any given time. So right now you can see that there's a number of blocks, but as of today, they've also said, so anybody with Chinese passport or from any of the provinces below can't come in or to self-quarantine for 14 days. Now, you'll notice that the UK and Romania are not in there, but they have also included now in the last day this enhanced screening and quarantine measures. So anybody coming from any European country has to self-quarantine for 14 days upon arrival at your own expense in your hotel. So that wasn't going to be fun for us. We were only going for 15 days. We'd have to ask the hotel to let us stay for 14 days and not be able to do anything. So we decided not to do that. And finally, I've also read today that they have suspended the automatic travel entry visa into Japan for European countries as well. So even if we managed to get on the plane and get to Japan, we wouldn't have got through customs because we were going based on the agreements between our countries that we could enter Japan for 90 days without a formal visa. You just get a travel visa at the customs. So, immigration, I should say, really. But that's been temporarily suspended as well for 30 days. So, there's no way we can go on our trip. And that's the current situation. So, let's talk about, I've got a list here of things I want to talk about, but do ask me any questions that you want in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you've got questions about traveling to Japan, questions about our trip, refunds, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to try and cover most of that. I expect this live stream to go on for about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. Depends how many questions and comments I get and how quickly I talk. So, first couple of things, because of the situation, and I'm not going to mention it by name because I know that YouTube likes to cancel streams and ban things if you use the word. So, because of the situation, let's go back to the main cam. We went out and managed to get ourselves some hand gels. So these are sanitizing gels. And the recommendation from the government is that it should be 60% ethanol or higher. So we got these two. The Carex one is 70% alcohol, and the one that we got from Primark is 68% alcohol. So these are both within the government recommendation that they would work. Now these are like gold dust, right? I mean, this is 100 mils for, see there, £1. I've got manual focus on, so it won't do that. Try and find a 100 ml bottle of sanitizer right now online for less than £1. I dare you. Or for £1 even. I dare you. Could probably sell this to cover the cost of my trip. Anyway, hand sanitizer. So we were planning to, in Japan, before we ate, after we attached handrails, if we shook hands with anybody, anything like that, doing the standard social distancing, we would have hand gel to protect ourselves. We also had a number of tissues. So, cover your face, if you sneeze, whatever else. It's just general good hygiene anyway. So I have a bunch of tissues. Let's extend the live stream a little bit. This is the Kleenex Balsam tissue. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but, I like these tissues. So, what next? So we actually, talk about face masks, we actually had some face masks ordered from Amazon that were coming from China. I get the irony of that. But they didn't come. We ordered them middle of February, I want to say. They were supposed to come early March, and they didn't turn up. And when I emailed the seller, they immediately issued me a refund. So I'm not even convinced they sent them. We were hoping that maybe they'd give the refund and then they would turn up a few days later and we'd get away with it, but they didn't turn up. Now, luckily, my mother did manage to get me some, so we do have some face masks. It wouldn't have been enough for the whole trip. We only have 10 here, so really we would have used these when we were on the commuter trains or anything like that, just to try and protect ourselves. And if for some reason we became infected, we wouldn't spread it around to anybody else. But we didn't have enough to wear these every day. We just had enough to... for when we were going to be in crowded places. So, we had face masks as well. And finally, when we were on our sort of search for hand sanitizer, this was back in end of January, start of February, something like that, we couldn't find hand sanitizer. So, it wasn't until I went to the Lash, I went to Primark, and we saw some, we managed to get some. So, we started buying up things like antibacterial hand wipes. Do apologize, I don't know why the thing is... taking out the colour yellow for some reason, but it is. I'd have a look at the camera settings. Maybe I've got some filter or something applied. There we go. There's a chroma key applied. Close. Does that work better? That's better. You can tell I'm not on natural at this. I don't do this every day. So hand wipes. We were going to be wiping down the trains and hotels and everything with this. And it says kills 99% of bacteria and viruses. I don't believe it actually tells you how much ethanol's in here. But this wasn't for cleaning our hands anyway. This was just for wiping down surfaces in case the people hadn't cleaned the surfaces. So, cheap Wilco hand wipes. Antibacterial wipes. So that was kind of the precautions we were going to take along with social distancing. We also had the GI Rail Pass because we were planning to go... fly into the Osaka airport and then get the Shinkansen down to Hiroshima. Shinkansen is the bullet train in Japan. There's a series of them. And we go down to Hiroshima for a few days. I think it's 2 or 3 days. Then we were traveling up to Kyoto for 6 days and up to Tokyo for the last 5 days before we went home. So we were using the trains reasonably a lot because even when we were staying in Kyoto and Tokyo, we had day trips planned to go out and about to other locations. For example, a day out in Osaka, a day to Nara. When we were in Tokyo, we wanted a day trip up to Nikko. So we had a lot of things planned, and we were going to take precautions and social distancing and things. But we really wanted to go, and we're kind of gutted that we didn't get to go. We are going to replan. So other things that we had, as I've mentioned, because we'd done all of our planning, we were pretty much ready to go. Apart from some clothes I wanted to buy on the back of my diet and losing a bit of weight. So some other things I can show you is the JR Rail Pass. So the JR Rail Pass allows you to get on any JR train most JR trains in Japan for the period of 7 days, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, depending on was it 2 weeks and 4 weeks? I forget. Depending on what you paid for. Now, we paid for 2 weeks, figuring we would just use we just pay for the trip back to the airport on the last day, because no point in paying for more than 2 weeks when, for 3 weeks or 4 weeks when you're only going to be there for 15 days. And what you get when you order rail passes, you get one of these. This is an exchange voucher, and I have cleverly redacted the reference numbers on these so that the people watching the live stream can't try and claim my ticket as their own. But it tells you the name of the person traveling and the type of travel that you've paid for, how long it lasts for, how much you've paid for it, and some other details, like when it was first purchased. So you have to redeem the exchange voucher for the actual rail pass in country once you get there. And you have 3 months after the date of purchase to do that. So we bought ours on the 4th of February, thinking that, we get there on the 11th of April. No problem. We can exchange them for the vouchers. For the rail passes in country. Yes, this says it has a GBP value of £334. Now, we actually got quite lucky. We ordered the standard pass, which just gets you on the standard coaches. And if you see here, they sent us the green pass. The green pass is the first class carriage car with the extra legroom, comfier seats, and some free refreshments on some journeys. And they didn't realize they had sent us the free upgrade until after we got these tickets, and they said they would honour that. Now, I reached out to Japan Rail Pass, because this is the company that we got our rail passes from, and they have said that we can send these back to them and they will honour the exchange voucher for an unlimited period of time. So if we decide to go later this year or next year, we will not lose the money. But we will not get to keep our free green pass upgrade, unfortunately. So we will go back to standard class if we go next year or later this year. But good thing that we don't lose over £600 for these two vouchers, because the policy on Japan Rail Pass's website says that returns are not valid after 15 days from purchase. So they have actually been really good in that they are willing to give us the replacement tickets for any time after the trip. So they understood the situation and they've been really good for us. So I highly recommend Japan Rail Pass. They've been really good to us. Now, some people might think, well, why didn't you just get a refund? Why would we not give you a refund for the current situation? The companies that are giving refunds are taking 10 or 15% off of you. So you're only getting 80 or 75% refund. So I'm actually quite happy, because I'm still planning to go to Japan. I'm quite happy that they put my order on hold and give me new passes whenever we decide to reschedule our trip. Japan Rail Pass. We also had our money, because Japan is a very money-heavy country. And I don't mean that in the sense that like every country is a money-heavy country. I mean in that they actually like hard cash, rather than sort of credit cards. For a country that everybody thinks as an advanced country, Japan isn't actually that advanced when it comes to credit cards and things like that. So a lot of shops are still very cash heavy. So we had quite a bit of Japan cash, and I'll take the opportunity to show you the notes, I suppose. So this is the 1,000 yen note. 1,000 yen at the current exchange rate, bear in mind that the pound has crashed this week, is around about £8. Now, we've been thinking about this as £10 because it's easier to think about that. 1,000 divided by 100 is £10. But at the current exchange rate, it's about £8. So that's the front of the 1,000 yen, and that's the back of the 1,000 yen note. Guess there's a space here for putting your own face. No, it's just the camera hasn't picked it up. There is a face there in the middle. The camera's not picking it up. It's a watermark. The other denomination There's two more denominations actually. One is the 5,000. So those of you who are quick at math will know that 8 times 5 is 40. So this is about a £40 note. Again, we were going to think about this as a £50 note. This is the 5,000 yen. And finally, the 10,000 yen. Now, we didn't take too many of these because if you can think about walking around with £100 notes, or what would be £80 really under the current exchange rate, if you lose that or get mugged, crime's not really a big deal that much in Japan, but if you do lose that or get mugged, that's a lot to lose in a single note. But this is a 10,000 yen note. So we have a few of these, and mainly that would be for if we were going out to a fancier restaurant or something, or we were paying for something expensive. But we hadn't planned on spending too many of those. We were going out and about, we'd be having a few of the 1,000 yen notes with us. Let's check on the stream, see if anybody's asking anything. No. Okay, I'll say any questions, do let me know. Let me know how the audio sounds as well. Apologise that my throat is a little bit rough this evening. But I'm not coughing. So I don't think I have the, what some people are calling the C word, V word. I don't think I have that. So, yeah, other thing I purchased, and this was kind of just the other day. Actually, it arrived this week. This is the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. And I had planned to use this for my live streams in Japan. Your phone clips in here, and when you're walking along, it keeps your video stable. You can also do some cool things with the joystick and whatever. I'm not going to spend too long on this because your video on Sunday is going to be all about this. So I'm doing an unboxing and a review video of this on Sunday. If you've got any questions or anything specific you want to know about this, put it in the comments just now and ask me the question. I'll happily answer it. But I'm not going to go too much on this. But not the cheapest thing to have bought and then have your holiday cancelled. But we've been playing with it over the last couple of days. We really like it, and I think that I'll be able to use it to make some pretty cool content for the channel. So, yeah, it comes with this tripod thing, but you can unscrew that. So you'd be walking around doing your live stream like this and controlling it. DJI Osmo. And one of the reasons, other than the doing the live stream, we bought this was because the drone rules in Japan are quite strict. So we were not planning on taking the drone to Japan with us. Now that we've got a bit more time to plan it, we might request some approvals and things like that to take the drone with us and get some drone shots, but we hadn't planned on doing that at the time. So we wanted to take a stable shot with that, potentially do another fake history of Japan. If you haven't seen it, that's kind of a shout out to my fake history of Bucharest video. Go watch that. I really enjoyed making that. I thought it was quite funny. So I wanted to get some more stable shots and always trying to improve the quality of the channel. I appreciate I don't release videos too often, but that was one of the things I was doing to try and improve the channel. But yeah, the idea was that you would get a live stream from me every 2 or 3 days on the trip. We'd be at some shrine or temple or tourist location, and I would do a half-hour live stream, give you an update on where we are, what the situation was at the time in the country, how things were feeling, and just generally check in to make sure that you all know that we're still alive. But yeah, I guess that's not going to happen for a little while. The next thing I wanted to talk about was how were we planning for the trip. So actually in terms of activity, discussing and figuring out where to go and what to do, because maybe you're planning a trip to Japan yourself and you're watching this and you're trying to get some ideas of what to do when you're there. So go back to my screen share here, and I want to give a shout out to a couple YouTube channels first. Again, I'm not affiliated with any of these channels. I'm literally just saying I was watching all of this stuff to get myself ready for the trip and to get some ideas of where to go and what to see. So the Only in Japan Go channel, which is created and produced by John Dobb, is really good. This YouTube channel is 100% live streams. So a few times a week, John goes out throughout Japan and does a live stream, usually about a location, tells you a bit about it, tells you, it can be like just general day-to-day blogging, but he can also sometimes talk about, maybe here's how you would use the train ticket machine in Tokyo to go to Osaka on the Shinkansen or something like that. So he's got some good videos on there. Recently, he's been doing a lot of videos on should you come to Japan, what are the rules, what's been changing, helping you get the information you need, because he's got feet on the ground and he's not leaving Japan. So shout out to John and Only in Japan Go. I recommend his channel if you're looking for advice on things to go and do in Japan, and also to get regular updates on what it's like on the ground. So John's channel is great. There's also a Discord channel. So it's discord.gg/onlyinjapan. And people on there have been discussing the situation and on the ground, helping each other with how to get refunds or rebook. And generally just trying to support each other, which has been really nice given the current situation. It's been nice to have a community to kind of engage with, and we're all kind of feeling the pain together. So, yeah, strongly recommend if you're going to do that. Now, he has loads of content. I'm not going to kind of go through it, but if you're looking for up-to-date content on the ground and how things are in Japan, this channel is great. And as I say, like, you can look at how to get on the trains and things like this as well. He seems like a really happy guy. He's happy to meet people in the street. Not right now. If he's live streaming, you get a card if you meet him in the street, kind of thing, if you find him. So that's quite cool. Another YouTube channel we've been watching a lot of is Abroad in Japan. This is done by a guy called Chris Broad, I believe. He went over there as an assistant learning teacher, I think they call it, to Japan. It was a sort of exchange program from England, and he's been there for 5 years or so now, and basically just, instead of doing the teaching of English in Japan, he now does YouTube full time, but he only does about a video a week, so it's not like you can get a feel for on the ground what things are like, but his content is very watchable. If you like English dry humor, then you're really going to enjoy his channel, and he does, go to a lot of places and recommend places to go and see and do again. So I got a lot of recommendations on my list. I mean, I've literally got a OneNote full of things I want to do that have come out of the Only in Japan channel. So again, recommend that channel. And finally, the Japan Rail Pass website itself, actually, where we got the Japan Rail Pass from, has a lot of useful blogs and travel guides, and they'll actually tell you which trains you should get to go between certain places. So my biggest concern obviously was day one. We were going to be traveling for 16 hours, and then we get to Japan. We're going to be tired, but it was going to be 8 o'clock in the morning, so we had to get to Hiroshima and then go out and spend the day. Excuse me. I said I'm not coughing, and then I am, but I actually ate just before the live stream, and I think that's coming back on me, so apologies. So yeah, this website actually was great in that it told me exactly how to get from the airport to Hiroshima. It told you which train to get, it told you what times they were at, and the connections you needed to get to. So again, things like this was great, and they have good travel guides. And one thing I'll note again, on the back of the exchange voucher, they have this app that's recommended, which is the Navitime app, and that works quite similar to Google Maps, or if you've ever used the London Underground sort of metro app. You tell it where you start, where you want to go, and it will tell you which trains to get, at what locations, on which stand. But one of the more beneficial things of that app versus doing the Google Maps alternative is that you can tell it you've got the JR Rail Pass, and then it will find routes for you that you can get between your start and destination points for free or included in the JR Rail Pass. Because as I mentioned, there's a few different train companies in Japan, and the JR Rail Pass only covers the JR trains. So the Navitime app was great. You could go in and tell it, I've got the JR Rail Pass and I want to go between Osaka and Tokyo. And it'll go, okay, get the Shinkansen here. This Shinkansen is included because 2 of the Shinkansen routes are not included. And so it'll tell you which one to get on which platform, and you're away. No problems, no concerns. So I recommend the Navitime app, even though I haven't used it on the ground, but considering the other options that I looked at for how to get around Japan, that one seemed like it was going to be the easiest to use for someone from the UK. It also had a feature in it that it could find where you are, and then you could say, like, recommend things nearby. Again, Google Maps does all of this, but that was the app I was going to use on the ground in Japan. Okie doke. How are we doing for time? 26 minutes. Okay, about halfway through my to-do list. So, hope you're sitting comfortably, got something to drink. As I say, engage with me. Part of the situation right now is everybody's kind of stuck at home. So, if you want me to do more live streams, just talking about other things, talking about what I'm doing in my sort of stay-at-home, work-at-home situation, then let me know. Because, happy to do things like this so that we can all still feel connected in this time of being stuck at home. So, as I mentioned, our itinerary was 3 days in Hiroshima, 6 days in Kyoto, and 5 days in Tokyo. Some of the key things I'll call it that we were planning to do in these locations was in Hiroshima, we had planned to go to the Hiroshima War Memorial and Castle, and we had planned to go to the Miyajima Island, which is a short ferry ride off from Hiroshima, included in the JR Rail Pass, and you can spend the day there at the shrine, and there's a bunch of wild animals there that you can go and hang out with, and they kind of try and steal your food like wild animals do. So we were kind of looking forward to doing that in Hiroshima. Then head off to Kyoto, where we were going to go and do the bamboo forest and the Fushimi Shrine. Now, if I was doing this as a normal YouTube video, you'd be seeing pictures appearing up right now, but I'm not, so you're not getting all of that, sadly. Yasaka Shrine was also a location we wanted to go to, and then we planned to go on the Gion Night Tour, because apparently that's quite good. Then we had a day planned out to Nara, which was, I believe, one of the previous capitals of Japan. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And has some amazing temples that I wanted to go and see. And then we had a day trip out to Osaka, or more of a night trip out to Osaka, because Osaka is like the nightlife capital of Japan. And that's obviously where we land when we fly in, or where we were planning to land when we were planning to fly in. To go and get, there's a special sort of wobbly cheesecake you can get that we saw in one of the videos. We thought that looked quite cool, so we're going to go and do that. Take a boat ride around the castle, and then go out at night. It's kind of the only night we were planning on actually going out and having a few drinks and spending time with the people in Japan. But we'll see if that happens. And then there was a few more days in Kyoto. There's just so many things to do in Kyoto, but we'll not spend too long on talking about that. In Tokyo, we had planned to go to the Digital Art Museum and Rainbow Bridge. So the Digital Art Museum's basically like a ton of rooms where they've got projectors and things where the art in the room and on the walls, some of the rooms were mirror rooms and things like this. It was an experience type room. Would react to people walking in, and the art would change, and it was meant to be quite an immersive experience. And yeah, we're looking forward to that, but I believe that's closed now till the end of April, so yeah, that's not happening anyway. Then we were going to go to Akihabara, which is the sort of tech part of Tokyo, all the tech shops and all the weird and wonderful toilets and things like that. We were going to go and have a look at all of that, and having lunch or dinner at the Pokemon Cafe, because Danielle and I are fans of the Pokemon games on Nintendo. I'm glad we didn't book that, because that would have had a cancellation fee. You can only book the Pokemon Cafe 30 days in advance of your trip, so we weren't planning to be in Tokyo until the 21st of April anyway, so we'd have been 2 days away from the first day we could have booked that. So glad we didn't book that, glad we didn't book the Digital Art Museum either, and we're kind of holding off on booking on those things. Where am I? So yeah, Asakusa and the Sensoji Temple. That was going to be day 11. I forget what's in Asakusa, but it must have been on one of the videos I watched. I think it's a bunch of temples. I wanted to go see a lot of temples. That was the main reason for the trip. So while we weren't bothered if a lot of the places were closed, we were still planning to go, even if like Disneyland was closed and Universal Studios was closed, and maybe even the Digital Art Museum was closed, because a lot of the places we wanted to see were outside anyway, and you can't really close the outside unless you put everyone in quarantine, which I guess is what's happening, right? So we were still planning to go, but yeah, we're not now. We were doing Mount Fuji and a day at Hakone, so that was a day trip out, and as I mentioned, a day trip out to Nikko. So we had planned this. This was not just, like, oh, we're nearly there, let's think about it. We'd planned this trip, and yeah, I mean, I guess we can still do this if we go later in the year or next year. And it says day 14, souvenirs by Tat, breakfast and travel to airport. I guess that's what you do on your last day on your holiday, right? Rush to buy stuff for people that they don't want because you've got to buy them a magnet. Okay. So, let's talk about, I guess, the title of the stream. We cancelled everything. And what are the cancellation policies? I'm actually glad that my viewers are sticking with me. I thought some people might have dropped off. There's not many of you, but yeah, I'm glad you're sticking with me. So, the things we had booked were hotels, Japan Wi-Fi, because free Wi-Fi in Japan is not really a thing. In your hotel you might get it. In some sort of like Starbucks you might get it, but in general free Wi-Fi is not as readily available as it is in the UK. So because my mobile phone is with 3 and so is Daniela's, we don't get free roaming to... Oh, thank you very much for the camera reminder. Camera's back. The reason for that actually is that the Canon EOS M50 camera that I'm using for this, there's a couple of issues with this, and I actually spoke about this in a previous video. Let's go back to the full cam. Was that the Canon camera doesn't allow you to plug it into the wall and run off power, so it runs off battery, and therefore it actually times out after 30 minutes. This is the best I can do with this camera to get the live stream running through the computer, and I'm actually using my Blue Yeti microphone for the microphone. But after half an hour the camera will turn off, so thank you very much for the reminder in the comments there about that. So the camera should be back now. But yeah, just one of the issues, it turned itself off after half an hour, and I knew that was going to happen. So that's kind of my reminder that I've been talking for more than half an hour. So yeah, you have to buy a sort of a wireless Wi-Fi hotspot thing. It's kind of the size of your phone. You rent it for the number of days you want whilst you're in Japan, and it gives you a 4G connection at like 120 meg, which is actually faster than I get in my home broadband just now. So we were going to have plenty of bandwidth for doing live streams, which is what we wanted to do, and we would use that for all of our internet and communication in Japan. We wouldn't be using our phones at all. Basically, our phones would be in airplane mode with Wi-Fi turned on and connected to the Japan Wi-Fi, or Japan Wireless, I think was the company I went with, to do that. So let's run through this. There's 3 hotels. We had hotels booked in obviously Hiroshima, Kyoto, and Tokyo. We have managed to cancel the Kyoto and Tokyo hotels at no cost. So what we had paid for those we'll get back. The Hiroshima hotel, I'm still in negotiations with them to see if they will give me a refund for the costs or not. They did say there was no refunds as their policy, but from the Discord channel, as I mentioned, based on the Only in Japan Discord channel, people are saying that even hotels that have had a no refund policy have been willing to waive it. So I'm trying my luck. I have reached out to them and I'm asking them if they'll give us a refund. And hopefully they will, but if not, I think it's only like £180, which sounds like a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of the cost of this trip, it's not really that much money if we lose that. So yeah, 2 out of 3 hotels we've managed to cancel. The Japan Wireless, I think that was about £80 for the 15 days we were going to have it. They have not only cancelled for me and going to issue me a refund, but they also gave me a voucher via email when I asked them to cancel for 15% off when I rebook in the future. So again, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but I think it was Japan Wireless, if I remember correctly. I'm going to give a shout out to them, because the companies are doing the right thing and they are looking out for their customers. Okay, the flights we booked. So we actually found our flights through Skyscanner. But you don't book flights through Skyscanner. Skyscanner is more like Google for booking flights and hotels and things like this. So we booked our flights direct with KLM, and KLM have now got a global rebooking policy where you can rebook for a later date. I think up until the end of November for no extra cost. You can change your destination. I believe that's also before the end of November. and as long as it's within the cost of your original tickets, then they'll let you change your flights. Or finally, they're letting you request a voucher for the full value of your trip, which you can use for up to 1 year after the voucher has been issued. And that voucher is what I have opted for, or what I have requested from KLM. Now, contacting KLM right now is understandably a difficult thing to do because they're getting loads of people contacting them and trying to get vouchers or get refunds or reschedule their flights. But the way that my flights got booked is in a strange way that I can't request the voucher straight on the website. So I've actually contacted them through WhatsApp and Twitter because I don't want to be on the phone for 4 hours and have nobody pick up. And I got a response from an automated bot that said, basically, as I said, these are your options kind of thing, and asked if your flight is after the 31st of March, please contact us after that. Now, our flights are on the 11th of April, but I didn't want to wait. So I have actually gone back to them and said, no, please give me my voucher now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get back to me before April. However, they have said that anybody who have flights booked up until the end of May can rebook or get a voucher up until the end of September. So they are backdating vouchers as well because they understand that their customer service are overwhelmed. So I'm not worried that I'm going to lose that money. As I said, we have opted for requesting the voucher for the total cost of our trip, which is non-refundable after the year. So we have to rebook. We have to go to Japan within a year of getting that voucher. So say we get that voucher on the 1st of April, we have to go before the 1st of April next year. Or it might be that we have to use the voucher to book our flights before the 1st of April next year, but the flights might not have to be before the 1st of April. But I understand, obviously, that if we take the voucher and then we book new flights, that any additional costs above the cost that we paid originally for our flights, we will have to cover. But that's fine. You know, if it's an extra 20, 30, hell, even £100 each, it's not a big deal considering the flights cost nearly £2,000 for the two of us to go to Japan. So, again, saving that money is not bad. And because I don't know when this situation is going to come to an end, I want to have the voucher for a year because I don't want to book flights in October and then have to pay a change or cancellation fee, which is what you'd have to do. They're waiving the change and cancellation fee right now, but they might not do that again in October if the situation is still ongoing. So we've decided to hold off. It's likely we'll be trying to rebook for March next year, unless KLM or someone don't give us the voucher that we've requested. Therefore, we'd have to book before November this year. But so KLM is still up in the air in terms of refund or getting a voucher or what's going to happen there. But yeah, I'm confident that we will be able to save the money, even if we travel later this year or if we go next year. Now, the cherry blossoms, which is one of the reasons we were hoping to go in April, other than the fact that my birthday obviously is in April. The cherry blossoms actually bloomed early this year. They started blooming 2 or 3 days ago, and John Dobbin, his Only in Japan channel, did a live stream of that. So it might be a good idea next year if we can go and hold off till next year, much as I'll be disappointed. I'm pretty gutted that we're not getting to go anyway. Is to go in March next year, and possibly we can catch the cherry blossoms because they only bloom for 2 weeks out of the year. 2 weeks out of the year. And so once they start blooming, between now and the 11th of April, or 12th of April, actually, when our flight landed in Osaka, they would have finished blooming. And there might have been a couple left on the trees, but there wouldn't have been too many. And we may have had to get a Shinkansen up to Hokkaido to try and catch the last of them, which wasn't an area on our trip. That is the most northern island in Japan, actually. And right now that is the one that has a lot of issues with the situation. So we didn't really want to go there. We didn't have to. So it could be a blessing in disguise that we didn't go. And then maybe we get to see cherry blossoms next year. Yeah, KLM are up in the air. Well, they have said that they're grounding 80% of their flights. I know people on the Discord channel who have said to me that they're stuck in Japan right now because they can't get home. I know someone who said their connection in Paris was meant to be 1 hour and it was pushed back to over a day now. with Air France. But yeah, thank you for that. I am going off the cuff here. There is no script. I'm literally just going down the list of things. So I have talked about the hotels, I talked about the Wi-Fi, I talked about the flights, and I talked about the rail pass. So that's the situation right now. It looks like we're going to save our money. The cash that I have exchanged is good. It'll sit in a safe. Quite funny, I realised if I actually switched it back to pounds right now, I'd make a profit because the value of the pound has crashed. But I'm going to keep it as it is because obviously it means it's worth more right now in its own currency, in the Japanese currency, and we are planning to still go to Japan, so I don't feel the need to change it back. I am in the lucky position right now that I'm allowed to work from home, and I'm going to continue to get paid to do that, so I don't need to rush to get sort of any pennies that I can to pay bills and things like that. I feel quite lucky about that, and yeah, my thoughts go out to those who are in harder situation with the current situation on that. Okay, the insurance that I bought, travel insurance, probably wasn't worth its weight in paper anyway. But because most insurances had said after the 5th of January it was deemed as globally known that the situation was out there, and therefore if you bought your insurance after that, you weren't covered for any sickness caused by that. And therefore, people were saying that their insurance wasn't really going to cover them for cancelled flights, wasn't going to cover them for cancelled hotels. So I don't think I'm going to be able to use my insurance to claim back this hotel that I'm trying to get a refund from that I may not get the refund from. So the insurance was kind of a waste of time. That said, I probably will try to get more insurance on the next trip, but I'm going to keep my ear to the ground right now on that one and see how people are getting on who are stuck in Japan, and the insurance companies that are helping people. I will give them a shout out, possibly in a future video or a future live stream, and that will be who I go with, because yeah, you want to be with the company that's actually going to pay out if you go. The final thing that I kind of wanted to talk about were concerns about going at a later date. So the ruling in Japan right now, it's a weird thing, but they have a charge on the trains for what they call oversized luggage. And right now, that is if the total dimensions of your suitcase are greater than added up, are greater than 250 centimeters. I think it is 2 centimeters. Then your luggage is oversized. But because the Olympics is due to happen this summer, from the 1st of May, they're reducing that, I believe, to 160 centimeters. So we were planning to take 2 large suitcases, which were less total dimensions than 250 centimeters, but are greater than 160 centimeters. So now if we go to Japan next year or after May, we either have to pay a fee to take our oversized luggage onto the trains, or we're going to have to buy new suitcases or take smaller suitcases with us, which will restrict us how much we can take, and so on and so forth. So that's my first concern about rebooking. And people who perhaps haven't done as much planning and research into their trip as I have may not be aware of that. So if you're watching this at a later date, be aware that the size of your luggage does matter, especially if you're planning to use the Shinkansens to get around and the sort of trains and things like that. You won't be able to take luggage greater than 160 centimeters on the trains unless you pay an oversized luggage fee, which should be the way the airlines do it, based on size instead of weight. That would be great, but then I guess people would try and take bricks with them on holiday or something and the plane wouldn't take off. No, it's probably not a good idea. The next thing is the Olympics. So I don't want to rebook, even if the situation gets better. I don't want to rebook too close to the summer because all the prices are going to be inflated. If the Olympics gets cancelled, then that might be a good opportunity to book in the summer because everything will be cheap because all these hotels will be trying to fill people up with them. But there's also the situation that you have to rebook holidays. We were going for over 2 weeks, so I had taken 3 weeks off work because I was planning on traveling to Scotland and flying out and back from Scotland, spending a few days with the family. And as a result of that, it may be hard for myself and Daniela to rebook 2 or 3 weeks from our holidays from work which means, yeah, we may not fly out from Scotland. If we do it again, we might have to fly from London or something like that, see if we can get a direct flight. But then if we have to fly with KLM, Air France or Virgin, we're going to have to use one of their connections. Virgin might have direct, I'm not sure, from London. But then Virgin are, grounding all their planes and laying off all their staff right now. So who knows, they'll even be a company at the end of the year. And I guess the final thing is, potentially there'll be increased costs because, the situation, companies are losing money right now. So once the boom starts bringing back up, they might increase their costs. So what was already an expensive trip may become an even more expensive trip. And the last point I've got here on my thing to talk about is, I guess that means I'll be turning 30 in the UK. But it might be a locked down UK. So we've been thinking about, we're going to obviously reduce our holidays from work to just have a few days that on the week of my birthday at the end of the month, end of April I should say, instead of taking the 3 weeks off, so that we can hopefully rebook later in the year. But it's, well, what can we do? I mean, we can't really book a hotel or somewhere in the UK because there's a potential that this social distancing and lockdown measures by the government could get stricter, or that more and more companies might shut down until further notice. So it's like, do we really want to pay a deposit for anything in the UK that we might not get back? So it's not likely that we'll have any sort of solid plans for that. I may just be turning 30 at home in the UK, at home in England, not even with the family, which kind of sucks. But hey, these things happen and we will get to go at a later date. So we've been streaming now for 48 minutes. I'm happy to go for the hour if anybody has any questions or anything they want me to talk about, anything they want to go into more detail about. Now is your chance. I'm kind of looking at the comment section. So I can see we have some viewers. I say, please don't forget to hit the like button. That will help YouTube share this out to people when I make this video available on the channel. Just trying to think. What else have I got in here from the Japan thing on my holiday? So yeah, I mean, really on my phone I had the Navitime app and the Japan travel app. I'm trying to get it into focus for you. I could probably manually focus it. And there, but we're pretty gutted that we're not getting to go. And as I said, I'm happy to do live streams if people think these are good. We could go out and about in England, distancing ourselves from people and getting to play with the DJI Osmo. That could be a laugh as well. But for now, I think that's going to do it for the stream. So thank you for watching. I hope this has helped you with your trip to Japan planning, if you had any plans for Japan, or just to give an understanding of the situation of where we are and what's going on the ground here. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye for now.